The study group program at the Science Learning Center has been a new addition into the suite of tools that are available for students. It's grown pretty dramatically over the last few years. The idea of working in a group is something that we try to encourage in a variety of formats. We have you try to answer questions during lecture in a group. We have you work in discussion sections during a group. And what the Science Learning Center study groups do is help to provide a structure to help you get together, a reasonably expert older student who can help the whole group make better use of their time. So we have endorsed this idea of working in a group in order to challenge your understanding of the subject matter in many ways, and the Science Learning Center study groups are an opportunity to take advantage of that approach.
Some other benefits that I think are really important that study groups offer to students are that it gives students an opportunity to share their ideas with one another and to do it in an environment that's very comfortable. And so study groups are a great way for them to bond with other students in the class and really enjoy an environment where they feel comfortable and they can ask their questions and know that the students will really support them.
I feel like attendance tends to be an issue, so it's difficult to keep the kids coming every week because it is a big commitment to their time. So you want to do everything in your power to make sure that you're making the most of their time.
Member attendance is kind of a tricky thing sometimes. A lot of times it just varies based on the time of day and when your groups are. But one of the things I've felt that's helped me maintain a strong attendance schedule for the students in my study group is just being able to lay out in the first week or first 2 weeks what we're going to be doing in this study group.
I must really stress the attendance policy, seeing the importance of the group working, and let them know if they felt that the group wasn't, catering to their needs, or something, if they felt like they weren't really getting anything out of the group, that they should come to talk to me. And I really stress like that personal contact. They will miss one session and they're apologizing all over the place. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I just want you to come to most of the sessions. I'm not going to be a disciplinarian or anything. I think it's that the fact that I'm interested in how their progress on an individual level also keeps them coming back.
I think that leaders have to pay attention to what the physical environment of their study group is to make sure that they're creating a place where students really are comfortable. So if students are meeting in an alcove and there are lots of students, the leader needs to really make an effort to get everybody around the table in a situation where they can see the board and see one another.
Okay, are you guys listening? Yeah, you are. Okay.
So if people come in late, they need to stop the group for a moment to make sure that that student is sort of welcomed into the circle and they can see and they're not excluded or pushed out into the hallway. I also think if students are meeting for their study group in a classroom, the leader needs to make efforts to make sure that that environment is appropriate. So if it's a large classroom, taking the desks and putting them in a circle or putting them in a U shape is going to be more effective than having them sitting in rows. The other thing that the leader really needs to keep in mind is where do they position themselves in relation to their group. We really want leaders to be sitting with their group in a way that really demonstrates that they're a peer and that they're not in a position of authority and that they're sitting away from the board and not standing at the board or sitting right by the board where it's tempting to just turn around and start explaining and writing things down. I really can't think of an example of where a leader would have to write something on the board that a member couldn't just do. And just having the members up at the board, I think, really sends the signal that they're responsible for their own learning. think it's really important for study group leaders to think about and plan for building a sense of community among the study group members, because that really is key to making sure that attendance is strong and that the members feel connected to one another.
Oh, 5 minutes. Relax. Make this your 5-minute break from studying. I was hoping, since it's been a week, we could just go around and say our names and like one thing you're gonna do for fun after you're done with the exam. Something like that. Think happy thoughts. So before, I know you guys have a lot of questions probably for course pack and stuff, but I just wanted to get any questions you had about the exam in general, things you're scared about, timing, things about that. And I have some strategies for you that you can apply.
I would say creating a sense of community with the study group really comes from being very informal with them. You don't want to seem like you're their teacher, because then they feel like they have to address you like you're a teacher.
One thing I do in my study groups to create a sense of community, first of all, I make sure I call everyone by their first name, and I learn names as soon as I can. I have them work together in groups and with different people within their groups. We're facilitators, not teachers, but sometimes we carry an affect with us that make us seem inaccessible. I bring that personal level into study groups, so maybe in the middle of a problem, we'll talk about something completely random and, keeping the focus on chemistry, but still relaxing the atmosphere and making them feel more like, this is a group of friends.
I talk to my students about things other than chemistry, especially before the study group starts. I always keep it under a few minutes to relax and to talk about something else.
I think that because study groups tend to start on Michigan time, 10 minutes after the hour, I think spending those first 5 or 10 minutes just talking to their study group members and allowing the members to talk to each other goes a long way toward establishing a good comfort level that makes it easier for those students to ask questions and take intellectual risks. Structured learning activities are opportunities for the study group leader to get their members engaged with each other in a more structured, perhaps formal way, rather than simply responding to student questions or posing questions to the study group members. And these sorts of activities, I think, are particularly effective when dealing with study groups that have quite a few shy members or members who are more reluctant to talk.
As usual, why don't you guys take a look at problem 1 first on your own, think about it, and then I'll open up.
In terms of the structured learning activities, I use the Think, Pair, Share a lot, and I like that a lot just because it involves everyone and everyone has a chance to really discuss the question.
I tend to use structured learning activities just before the exam because there's not a whole lot of material in physics. There's a lot more computation that goes along with it. So I like to use Jigsaw, which is where each member of the group or a pair kind of reviews a chapter in the book and then they present the material to the group, tricky things that they found difficult with the material.
So in regard to structured activities then, there are a couple occasions where we'll use some of those depending on just, again, how the week is running and what kind of week it is. The most common one that I do, and this just gets students warmed up a little bit, is, for example, if we do start with the course pack type questions, I'll present the first 1 or 2, just kind of an open discussion. I'll draw the problem up on the board and say, does anyone have any input on how we can approach this problem? And then once you get the first 2 done or so, and once you start warmed up to the idea of how challenging the course pack questions are and how they should approach them, what I've done before is breaking students apart into groups, saying you're responsible for 49A, you do 51B, and so on. Students will go up to the board, they'll write what what solution they believe is true for that case, and go on from there.
When there's something that involves a lot of memorization, I like to just assign as many students as possible to
to go up to the board and sort of all at one time, just go up to the board and write some basic points about their topic, understand their topic, and then present it to the whole group after everyone's done writing.
Sometimes I just immediately split them up into groups and have them thinking together and working together immediately. Sometimes I have them sometimes I actually do the think, pair, share, have them think about it, not say anything for a few minutes and then get back together. That's the one I've used the most.
So that has been really useful to get two people to work together on it. And if some people don't understand it, then in terms of a pair, then I make them work with a pair who seem to understand it, and then they explain things to each other.
A well-functioning study group is a team of people who are working together to make sure that everybody really understands the material.